It all began in this little shop.
Ow! Damn roses!
Where, strange as it seems, something extraordinary happened.
I'm afraid it isn't feeling very well today.
No, it's not this one.
What kind of a weirdo plant is that, Seymour?
Little Shop of Horrors, a story about a boy.
I've given you sunlight, I've given you rain. Looks like you're not happy, unless I open a vein.
Where did you get such a weird plant?
A girl.
You don't make a nice voice when you live on Skid Row, Mr. Mushnick. Seymour, this is my date, my boyfriend.
A florist.
I'm telling you, Audrey, he's not a good, clean kind of boy.
He's a professional.
You'll be a 10. You have a talent for causing things. Hey, son, be a 10. People will pay you to be in the game.
I've been saving all month for this. I think I need a root canal. I'm sure I need a long, slow root canal.
Feed me Seymour.
And a plant.
Feed me all night long.
How am I supposed to keep on feeding you?
Whoa! Catch me now, I'm just a mean green brother from outer space and I'm dead. I'm just a mean green brother from outer space and it looks like you've been had. Yes!
Rick Moranis.
Man's a total disgrace to the dental profession.
Ellen Greaves.
Excuse me.
Excuse me, what?
That's better.
Vincent Gardenia. With special guest appearances by Steve Martin, John Candy, and Bill Murray.
It's your professionalism that I respect.
Little Shop of Horrors.
The Little Shop of Horrors. It's been called the best film that was ever shot in 2 days. Well, obviously an original back in 1960, but then we had a remake, a musical remake, wasn't exactly a big hit, but it has grown on people. So we're going to get into some facts. Now, the 1961, Roger Corman, who had a knack for making cult classics on the cheap, he had bet his brother, Gene, that he would be able to shoot an entire film during the last week of 1959. Now, he did do some shooting Thursday and Friday of that week, got together with the cast, but of course, reshoots did not allow it to be done in just 1 week. Now, the 1960 version gave us one of Jack Nicholson's earliest roles. He played a masochistic dental patient. The future star reminisced about the film's tight budget, saying that the director couldn't even pay to make copies of the script. Now, the 1960 film inspired a hit off-Broadway show, and it premiered in 1982 on May 6th, and it ran for a month. And then it got picked up by a producer, and then it began a incredible performance run over the next 5 years, making it at the time the highest grossing off-Broadway production ever. Then the $25 million film adaptation of the musical hit went into theaters in 1986. Now, if this movie was created today, obviously the extraterrestrial villain in the movie would most likely be computer animated. But of course, back in the 80s, the technology had not come of age. So the director, Frank Oz, pretty much knew puppetry inside and out, obviously being part of Jim Henson, and had spent 10 years voicing Fozzie Bear, Miss Piggy, was hired to helm the Little Shop of Horrors. Now, Audrey, which obviously would grow over the course of the film, and it would sing and shimmy and eat people alive, they had to build 6 animatronic fly traps of varying sizes for the film. The smallest was a mere 4 inches tall, and the largest stood over 12 feet in height, used towards the climax of the movie, and it required 60 human operators. Now, if you've not seen this movie, you're in for a treat, because this movie stars Rick Moranis, Vincent Gardenia, Ellen Greene, Steve Martin, Tisha Campbell, Jim Belushi, John Candy, and Bill Murray. So it is an all-star cast for sure. It definitely will be a delight for you to watch. Steve Martin in this, now he was walking up to the apartment with his girlfriend Audrey, who's played by Ellen Greene, and of course he's the deranged dentist. Well, he kicks open the building's door, but on the DVD commentary he mentioned that he had previously tried opening it by hand, only to have the glass unexpectedly shatter, cutting his palm. Now, in this film, we also had Bill Murray, and he got to portray the Jack Nicholson role, and he was opposite Steve Martin's sadistic character. Now, Bill Murray wanted to go off script with this, and the director was okay as long as he stayed Damascus, and Bill Murray realized that Steve Martin would be the sadist, so he was given the green light. He was allowed to ad-lib his way through the scene using different lines in every take. Now, originally the ending was a little bit different because they were going to have Audrey eat all of the principal characters, and in the finale it would reveal an army of the plant's ravenous offspring had laid waste to cities all across the nation. However, they did a preview in San Jose, California, and test audiences could barely contain their enthusiasm. However, once they started to give applause and they loved it, they thought it was fantastic. But then when they killed the two leads, the theater became silent. They were like in an icebox. It was awful. And then they screened in LA and it provoked a similar reaction. So they had to go back to the drawing board and provide a happy ending. The discarded ending, though, is restored on a 2012 Director's Cut DVD, in case you want to see that. In 1991, there was a show on Fox Kids called Little Shop, and it was a young Seymour and Jr. Rapping prehistoric flytrap, and it only lasted for 13 episodes, but they tried the animated version style. At the time for Warner Brothers, it was actually the most expensive movie that they've ever produced with a budget of $25 million. Now, the setting for the Suddenly Seymour number was filmed on the famous 007 stage, and the cast and crew ran into some problems while shooting. The stage was so big, it was impossible to heat properly, and it meant that the room was absolutely freezing. The actors' breath condensation was visible every time they spoke or sang, so it would mess up each shot. But Rick Moranis and Ellen Greene came up with the idea of having the cast put ice cubes in their mouth to counter the issue. Now, Ellen Greene did a great job as Audrey, but they also considered Cyndi Lauper and Madonna for playing that part. And of course, the voice of Audrey, too, ultimately went to Levi Stubbs, but it was considered for Eddie Murphy. And of course, the villain's theme song, Mean Green Mother from Outer Space, holds the unusual honor of being the first ever Oscar-nominated song to contain swear words. One more interesting fact, Aliens, the sequel to the movie Alien, was filming right next door to Little Shop of Horrors, and at one point while acting, James Remar fired a gun on the set of Aliens, not realizing it was loaded with blanks. The explosion tore through the wall between the two productions, but fortunately no one was injured. And soon afterwards, James Remar was caught in possession of drugs and was replaced by Michael Biehn in the role of Corporal Hicks. Now, in the musical number Somewhere That's Green, Audrey pines after green space as she longs to get out of Skid Row. Well, Howard Ashman and composer Alan Menken collaborated on the off-Broadway musical and 1986 film, but they also worked together when they wrote music for the Disney's The Little Mermaid. And in The Little Mermaid, the famous song Part of Your World was heavily influenced by Somewhere That's Green.
I'm just a mean green mother from outer space, and I'm dead. I'm just a mean green mother from outer space, and it looks like you've been had. I'm just a mean